Mr. Speaker, I think I'm done with my questioning for the moment. I think I'll just make some remarks. People in this state are leaving. We all know that. We see it in the news all the time. States all around us are growing. Connecticut is shrinking. Rich people are leaving. Businesses are leaving. Why are they leaving? Because of the policies that this legislature has enacted in this state. Just ask them. Go to talk to people who are leaving. Talk to people who have moved to North Carolina, to Tennessee, to Texas, to Florida. They'll tell you. Just ask them. Your constituents, I guarantee, constituents of every person, every member of this chamber have left because taxes are too high, because we keep changing the rules, because we are trying to impose a vision of economics that doesn't exist. It's like defying physics. We're trying to defy the basic laws of economics with our policies. Heavy-handed government control and heavy-handed policies like this are driving people out. I'm sorry to say it, but at the moment, Connecticut is dying. We see it all over the place. We see stores closing, businesses closing. People can't sell their houses. People want to retire to get out of here. There's a line to get out the door. It is very, very sad for once the most prosperous state in the nation. And there are people in this very chamber who are supporting this bill who refuse to allow the market, even in their own businesses, to work. So, for example, there were people who testified that had businesses, had small businesses. They pay more than the minimum wage. Let's say they pay $15. Great. And they're pushing for the minimum wage. Well, why are they pushing for an increased minimum wage if they already pay their employees $15? Because they recognize that paying above minimum wage is anti-competitive, that they are at a competitive disadvantage to their competitors in the area who are not paying that wage. So they recognize that it is not a sustainable business model to pay more than everybody else. So what's their solution? Well, they want to get the government to compel everybody else to pay more. We have members of this very chamber who have been in the news all over the place in that very situation. If they want to pay more, great. Let them pay more. But don't compel the rest of the state to practice anti-competitive business practices that defy the basic principles of economics. If Costco and Walmart and Amazon want to pay $20 an hour, great. Let them. They will attract better candidates. If their competitors then want to attract good candidates, let them pay more. But if the government compels everybody to that same level, there's no competition. It's just government control. What we're doing by raising the minimum wage beyond what is economically feasible is we're cutting off the lower levels of the ladder of success. My daughter needs a job. She doesn't have a mortgage. She doesn't have to pay insurance. She doesn't have to support a family. She doesn't have a car payment. She doesn't have a tuition payment. She needs basic job skills. She needs to learn how to wake up in the morning, how to get to work on time, how to do a good job. That's what she needs to learn at 16 years old. That's what young kids need to learn. And if we artificially make the jobs that she would otherwise get too expensive for the employers, those employers simply won't have that job. So if a job is worth $10 an hour to an employer, the employer says, if I can pay somebody $10 an hour, or $10.10 in this instance, I can employ somebody and it will be economically feasible for my business to do so. Well, they'll create that job. And my daughter will get the opportunity to earn a little money and to get some basic job skills. And to start on the ladder of success, to start down that road where she will then get a better job and a better job and a better job. But if we tell that employer that although my daughter may only be worth $10.10 to that business, that he must pay $15, even though the job isn't worth $15 an hour, he's not going to make that job available. And my daughter will not get the opportunity to learn those job skills. My daughter wants to work on a farm this year. This bill will kill farms. Literally. This bill will literally kill farms in this state. Farms right now are teetering on the brink. We see farms closing down every day. Dairies selling off their herds. Fields going fallow. Farmers retiring and nobody stepping up to take over afterwards. You know, farmers get for their milk about $17, give or take, for every 100 pounds of milk. That's what they can sell it for. About $17 for every 100 pounds of milk. And it costs them $20 per hundredweight to produce. So for every 100 pounds of milk in this state, farmers lose $3. You can't sustain a business when you lose money on the product that you make or the service that you provide. So at the moment, the state of Connecticut is providing somewhat of a subsidy to try to keep farmers alive. But why does it cost so much? Why does it cost $20 per hundredweight for a farmer to produce milk? Well, a lot of that goes to labor. They have to pay the minimum wage. or an agricultural wage in some instances for younger kids. But that's why it costs so much. Because of our policies that we are imposing on these businesses. We are creating an environment where they cannot stay in business. We are driving farmers out of business. We are driving them out of this state. You can go to Aldi or Walmart, buy a gallon of milk for a couple bucks. In Aldi, I think it's like less than $2 for a gallon of milk. Well, in Connecticut, it costs over $3 to produce that gallon of milk. So how does Aldi sell it for less than it costs to produce? Oh, where do you think they get it? They don't get it from Connecticut farmers. It's too expensive because we have to pay $10.10 an hour, soon to be $15 an hour. Where do they get it? They get it from Wisconsin. That's where your milk comes from. That's why it costs $1.89 for a gallon of milk in Aldi, because they get it from Wisconsin. And what's the minimum wage in Wisconsin? $7.25. They can produce milk and still stay in business. But at $15 an hour, there is no way a farm can stay in business producing milk. Once they sell off their herds, they're gone. They're not coming back. You see it all over the place, all over the state. You see it up in the Windsor area. You see it down in New London area. You see it in Middlesex. You see it in Litchfield. You even see the few remaining farms in the Fairfield area. If they're not already not already closed, they're planning on closing. Mr. Speaker, the clerk is in possession of an amendment. It's LCO